Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Segal. This is a video to introduce my Italian diaries. I'm not sure really what to call this project. My year into Italian, my Italian diaries, it's probably what I'll call it, I guess. Rediscovering my roots. There's a whole lot of reasons why I want to learn Italian. And the reason that I chose this format is because it serves me in many ways. I have taken formal classes in Spanish and in German and in French, and I'm currently in a book group in German, and I do activities in Spanish, and of course I speak Spanish at home. If you've never met me, you don't know, but I have a Spanish-speaking husband from Mexico City. Italian's just something that I've picked up, started learning during the pandemic, and Italian is also something that I heard as a child, or maybe I want to say the fumes of Italian, the energy of Italian and of Italy. My great-grandfather came over from Naples to Chicago and wanted to assimilate, and therefore my grandfather did not learn Italian from him. But I'm sure that as a young child, he was around till I was about 4, he must have been speaking Italian. It's somewhere in my head, so deep. I also have a step-grandfather, if that's a thing, but the dad of my grandfather is from Florence. So he would throw Italian words in from time to time. And again, my stepfather doesn't really speak Italian. His mother's Czech, his dad is Italian, and they spoke those two languages to him when he was little. And then when he went off to school, they switched to English. And he's got Italian somewhere stuck in his brain too, and does pop out with things once in a while, but is not able to really have conversations in Italian. So tutto bene and capisce, and those sorts of things. Or as I say in one of my Italian videos, alla salute di chi lo beve, which his grandfather said all the time. Every time I say that, and my stepdad has dementia now, and it's really sad. And I try to do things to help him feel better, to like reconnect to the memories he has when he was younger, because dementia, as you know, is a degenerative disease, and the last memories in are the ones that you remember less. So Italian is another way to connect with him. So that's great. So I'm connecting with my own roots. As I said, my great-grandfather came over from Naples. When I went to Italy for the first time, it was very disconcerting to me, because I thought I grew up kind of in an Italian family with an Italian last name and red sauce over everything. And it turns out that Italy, it's now I think about it, of course, but it was very different than the expectations I had about it. And I think that's a common situation with generations after an immigration from one place to another. There's a sense of loss of the culture, wanting to preserve it, but then also generations before may have decided to assimilate and kind of make a clean break with the prior culture. Sometimes they carry it with them. I wish my family had done that. I think that's a much healthier way, but there's grief and loss and fear, and so everybody deals with that in their own way. But in my sense now, in my early 50s and late 40s, when I started learning, maybe I was actually 50, probably just about 50 when I started learning Italian. Yeah, wow, gotta pause and think about that. Now at this point in my life, it's very different than it was when I was younger. And of course, when they first came over, and a different political climate and everything else, but then things also repeat themselves in history. So Wow, there's so many different reasons I want to do this project. It's just hitting so many buttons, if you will. When I first moved to New York City from um, Illinois, I went to NYU Law School, and I remember my mother and I were visiting, and we were sitting inside the Met. And if you've ever been inside the Metropolitan Museum of Art, there's this place where there's just this huge hallway, and there's sculptures all around, but the ceiling's really high, and there's lots of light and air. And she was sitting in my mother was sitting in a chair next to this other woman, and I was walking around, oblivious to this until later. She told me about it, looking at sculptures and things. And she was sitting next to this woman saying, my daughter's considering moving to New York. I'm very worried about it. The city, it's very tight and busy, and the apartments are very small, and et cetera. And of course, security issues and all that. But I don't think she talked about that. And the woman said to her, when we live in New York, we don't live in our apartments, we live here. And it was such an expansive way of thinking about New York City. And I guess real New Yorkers, that's a lot of what they think. I mean, some of them have huge apartments, very, very few. Most of the time, the reason to be in New York is to not be in your apartment. I have another friend who is a native New Yorker who said to me that the city takes a lot of energy, but it also gives a lot back. And I felt that when I lived in New York. Now I live outside of the city, but there's a true sense of that, and that's what I'm finding with the Italian is I'm putting a lot of energy into this project of trying to become fluent. And you'll hear me if you listen to the videos, whether or not you know Italian. It's like some of my brain hurts. It's so hard, but I know it's also paying me back. It's taking energy, but it's giving energy back. So I'm doing this because it's fun. I'm doing this to connect to my roots. I'm doing this to stimulate those parts of my brain that need stimulation, that dopamine hit, if you will. I'm also doing it not chiefly for clients, but I am an executive coach, and I realize that me taking risks, kind of putting my money where my mouth is, or having skin in the game, however you'd like to explain it, may help my clients feel like, oh, they can take their own risks too. Plan to try to do a video every day. I have no idea if that's going to work, but I'll give it a shot. Hopefully by the end of 2024, and I started this mid-January, I'll have, at least 300 or so videos. So I wanted to share screen really quick as well. Where is my screen share? Ah, there we go. Okay, so screen share, and please ignore. Yes, I have watched Anna Kendrick funny moments, but a lot of this stuff must be from my daughter borrowing my phone or something. I don't know why these things are coming up for me. I don't even know why that's coming up for her. All right, ignore all of that, because I tried to do full screen and I had to stop the video and start again because it didn't work. It doesn't share somehow. Yeah, so listen to this really quick. Finalmente italiano, perché italiano è una lingua tantissima, bellissima. There you go. You see that? That's the giving energy back. That's the fun. That's the wow. And not having to be perfect, of course. I never thought I wanted to do a project where I would launch a new video every single day, because oh my God, is my hair perfect? Am I saying everything perfect? Is the screen share working? Blah, blah, blah. People are gonna click off if I don't have everything perfect. Yeah, well, guess what? I don't have everything perfect. Another thing that is good to put my money where my mouth is, skin in my game. Have skin in the game. Too many languages popping into my head and I can't even think in English. Yeah, so that's the intro to my Italian videos. Thank you for watching. I'm not going to do subtitles in English. It's not fun to do subtitles anyway, and it might take me a few days to even catch up with subtitles. I think that's a necessary evil for me to learn how to write in Italian as well. Not freehand writing, but at least, putting the sentences together as I edit the auto-generated subtitles. So those may be a few days delayed, but I will try to do those. But for me to actually then go and translate into English, I'd have to get a transcript and then do the translation and then post, and then all that stuff adds on. Like, this is supposed to be a 1 to 15 minute project a day, and then it's going to become an hour, and then it's just going to run away from me, and I'm going to be in that same place I was back earlier in my life when I was trying to fit in way too many things and running in many directions. So if you know Italian already, if you love to learn Italian, if you know another Romance language and can understand it, or you just want to listen because it could be background noise and maybe some passive learning, all those are great things. But maybe at the end of a year, I'll go back and think about whether I could do something with English subtitles or contract someone to do that for me or something, but no present idea of doing that. So, what ends up happening when you are multilingual is that you share certain life experiences with some people in one language, and you share other life experiences with people in another language. And that's just how it is. So this will be one of those moments. Ciao, a domani. Grazie. Screen share closed. Imperfect again. Bye-bye.